Okay, welcome to our Amud Shir. We are in Masechet Shabbat, Daf Lamed, and Lamed Aleph, Amud Aleph in the bottom of the page, Lamed Aleph, Amud Aleph in the very bottom of the page. Today's Amud by the cycle of Dirshu is Lamed Aleph, Amud Bet, and Bezrat Hashem, this Shir is for the good Shidduchim of all the children, Bezrat Hashem, Ahuva Shir, Liva Bat Esther Fuma, and so we've been learning. Yesterday, we mentioned the Gemara mentioned the topic of Yirat Shamayim, the importance of Yirat Shamayim, and now we will elaborate on that. Yeah, that's all you have to know. The topic is Yirat Shamayim, and we'll go take it from there. Amar Rabba bar Avuna, Kol Adam sheyesh bo Torah ve'en bo Yirat Shamayim. A person who has Torah, a person is knowledgeable in Torah, but he doesn't have Yirat Shamayim. Yeah, as we said yesterday also, even if a person knows all six Sdarim and a person is tested in Shamayim and he did everything right, but if he doesn't have Yirat Shamayim, it doesn't mean much. And here the Gemara compares it, Dome legizbar shemasru lo maftechot pnimiyot, maftechot chitzonot lo masru lo. In other words, this person is like a gizbar, is like a treasurer, and he now was given keys for the treasure house, to the house of treasures, and masrul maftechos apnimiyos. They only gave him the ones of the inner room. Maftechos achitzonos loy masru loy. They didn't give him the outer keys, meaning the keys to the outer door. There's someone hosting you in his house very nicely for sleepover, and he's giving you the room, the key to the room, but he doesn't give you the key to the apartment, to the flat. So that's a joke. The high ayel, which one would you go through? In other words, the way to enter Torah is only through the Yirat Shamayim. Rashi says, Yireh Shamayim na'asa chared lishmo ve'la'asot. V'imla v'ino chash leTorato. Only a person who is Yireh Shamayim is a person who will care about his Torah. So the whole approach has to start, your starting point, your approach has to be Yirat Shamayim. And after Yirat Shamayim, then you can continue into Torah. But if you don't have Yirat Shamayim, you don't have the outer keys, you don't have the entrance to the Torah that's within you. Machiz Rabbi Yanai. Now Rabbi Yanai declared, Rabbi Yanai announced, and he said, Chaval, what a shame. Chaval al deleis lidarta, vitar lidarta ovid. Chaval, how shameful it is. A person deleis lidarta, he doesn't have a door, he doesn't have the door, and he's making a tara, he's making a gate to the door. Yeah, in other words, this is now the opposite. A person who only has Torah without Yirat Shamayim, he has the tara, he's making the outer gate, but he doesn't have the darta, he doesn't have the inner door. And according to Rabbeinu Hananel, instead of darta, you have to say dirta, apartment, house. In other words, you have a very nice gate, but you don't have the house. Now this is the opposite. In other words, the person who has Yirat Shamayim, such a person, he doesn't have Yirat Shamayim and he has Torah. He only has the chitzonius. He doesn't have the pnimius. He only has the outside, not the inside. So that seems to be contradictory to what we said before, right? So I saw the bring down b'shem the Chidah. He says no. There are two types of Yirat Shamayim. There's Yirat Shamayim. They also say it in the Meforshim and the Rambam. There's Yirat chitzonius and Yirat pnimis. Yirat chitzonius is the person is scared of Hashem. Hashem will put me in Gehenna. That's Yirat chitzonius. Ira Pnimis is realizing the godless, the grandeur of Hashem. So really, there's Ira before Torah and Ira after Torah. At the beginning, you have to have Ira Chitzonis. That's a starting point. Then you learn more, and then you get into a dark of Ira Pnimis. But a person who doesn't have Ira, either he only has the outside, or he doesn't have, one of them is missing, either the inside or the outside, but he doesn't have the whole picture. Whichever way you look at it, he doesn't have the entire picture. And therefore, he's missing a lot if he doesn't have Yirat Shamayim. He's missing the main thing. Amar Yehuda. Now comes Rav Yehuda and says more about Yirat Shamayim. Another statement about the importance of Yirat Shamayim. Amar Yehuda. Lo bara Kadosh Baruch Hu es olamoy ele kedei shiru melefonov. The only reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world was so people should have Yirat Shamayim from Hashem. Shene'emar, it says, Va'elokim also shiru melefonov. HaKadosh Baruch Hu also created the situation so people should fear him. The Pashup Pshat means Hashem made it so people should have Yiras Shamayim. But the drash is Elokim also. Everything Hashem made, Bechlal, the whole world, the whole creation, is only in order people be Yiras Shamayim. Why? So I saw the pshat is that, as we said in Maseches Brochas, the famous statement, "Akol b'dei Shamayim chutz miYiras Shamayim." So the only reason Hashem created the world was for people, and for the b'chira chofshit. Your only b'chira chofshit, your only free choice is Yiras Shamayim. Everything else is not up to you. So the only reason for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the only goal of Brias Ha'olam is so people should choose Yiras Shamayim. And that's why Yiras Shamayim is the only goal of Hashem's creation. So we better be Yiras Shamayim to fulfill the goal of the world. Otherwise, we're missing the boat. Now a story about what we just learned. Rabbi Simon Rabbi Elazar. Yeah. Rabbi Simon Rabbi Elazar, they were sitting down. Rabbi Simon Rabbi Elazar were sitting. Chalif the Ozil Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha. Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha, he was walking by. Yeah, he was passing by. Amar lechad lechavre, one of them told his friend, Neiku mikamei, let's stand up in front of him. The gvar dachil chatoinhu, because he's a Yiras Shamayim. He's dachil chatoin, he's yirachet. He has yirachet, so we better get up for him. Yeah, it says in the Gemara, the end of Perik Sheni, Bov Metzia, Talmidei Chachomim that would stand for each other. One Talmid Chacham can stand up in honor of the other one, maybe kima, maybe just a little bit hidu, but let's get up. He's Yiras Shamayim. Omer le'idach, the other one, we don't know who said what, Rabbi Simon or Rabbi Elazar, but the other one said, Neku mekamei, the gvar bar Oryan hu. We should get up for him because he's a Talmid Chacham, bar Oryan, ben Torah, Talmid Chacham. That's the reason to get up, not because he's Yiras Shamayim. Omer lei, no. So the first one replied and said, no. Amina lach ano, the gvar dochil chatoinu. I'm telling you that we have to get up because he's yirachet. V'amart li at bar Oryan hu. You're telling me that it's because he's bar Oryan, because he's a Talmid Chacham. You're degrading him. You're downgrading. Yiras chet is more than knowledge of Torah. This time, now we don't know who said what. This time, let's assume, let's connect it. Let's assume that the one who said the Yiras Shamayim is the reason to get up is Rabbi Elazar. Why? We see now the same Rabbi Elazar quoted by Rabbi Yochanan saying the following statement: the only thing Hashem has in this world is Yiras Shamayim. The only thing Hashem has nachas from is Yiras Shamayim. That's the only cause, the only thing is Yiras Shamayim. Shene'emar, ve'ato Yisrael ma Hashem Elokecha shoel me'imach ke'im le'yiro. Yeah, as we know, the pasuk brought down also in Brochus Lamed Gimel, what does Hashem want from you except for Yiras Shamayim? The only thing Hashem wants from us is Yiras Shamayim, nothing else. You can finish the whole Shas, Hashem is not that impressed, yeah, as much as with the Yiras Shamayim. Uksiv, and it says, Lamed Aleph, Amud Beis, we're towards the end of the narrow lines. Uksiv, Vayomer lo'odam, hen Yiras Hashem hi chochmo. What does it mean, hen Yiras Hashem hi chochmo? What is the word hen? It says Yiras Shamayim is chochma, and it says word hen. What does hen mean? So this is, says the Gemara, it's famously quoted in the Mesilas Yesharim, Sheken bilshon Yevoni koirin le'achas hen. Yeah, in other words, in Greek, the word hen is one, similar to many other European languages. One, uno, eine, it's all with n something, right? So in Greek also, Greek is an ancient language, is hen. So basically, interesting, the Torah sometimes uses foreign languages. I had an idea, maybe because it says Goyim also have to have Yiras Shamayim. Yes, a Goy has to have Shavuot says Menoch. Maybe that's why it says it in Greek. Even they have to have Yiras Shamayim. Maybe that's why. That's my own little idea over here. So basically, Hen Yiras Hashem Yichochim means the one and only thing. The one, says Rashi, Yechida Hira Ba'olam. The one and only thing that's important for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the one thing that Hashem cares about is Yiras Hashem. Not only that, Yiras Hashem is Chochma. Yiras Hashem, Mesilas Yesharim says something you have to learn. People think Yiras Shamayim is the guy who's a frumi. You have to really be Chocham, know what's Yiras Shamayim, how to get Yiras Shamayim. It's a Chochma that has to be obtained. Yeah, to learn Musar, to learn about your own personality, to know how to fight the Yetzer Hara. It's like psychology. It's like knowing how to, Yiras Hashem is a Chochma. It's an art that you have to learn. It's not some, I need to learn the Gitin and Holos and all the difficult sugyas. And you also say, okay, I'll be frum. No, you have to learn Musar as if you're learning something deep and intricate. And the Yos Hashem Michochma. Dorosh Rav Ula, yeah. Oh. Dorosh Rav Ula. Rav Ula had the drosha here with Tistayim. Tistayim means, yes, Tistayim means that we really know now that the one who was more for Yiras Shamayim than Torah is Rabbi Lozo. Yeah, Rabbi Lozo was the one who said you have to stand, yeah, in honor of Rabbi Yaakov Bar Acha because he was Yiras Shamayim. That's more of a reason to stand up for him than him being a Talmid Chacham. We appreciate everything, but being Yiras Shamayim is more of a reason to stand up for him. Dorosh Rav Ula. What does it mean when it says Al Tirsha Harbe? Oh, so I saw, they say B'Shem, I saw B'Shem the Maharsha brought down because up until now we dealt with the difficult psukim in Koheles. Now there's another pasuk in Koheles that we need to understand, right? We said they wanted to hide away Koheles because it was difficult to understand. There were contradictions. Here's another difficult pasuk in Koheles. What does the pasuk say? Al tir shaharbe. Don't be very wicked. Don't do a lot of bad things. Meaning what? You can sin a little bit. Don't do more. Sounds like the goyim say it. Yeah. Says Rav Ula. No, comes the question. Sorry. Question is, are you telling me that you shouldn't be Rosh Harbe, but you can be a little bit of a Rosha? You can give into the Yetzer a little bit. Chas v'shalom. We just spoke about Yiras Shamayim. You're telling me that I can sin within reason? Ella, here comes the famous line: Misha ochel shum v'reichoi noidef yachzor v'yochel shum acher v'reichoi noidef, which means somebody who ate garlic and now the good smell, the aroma of garlic is noidef. Is now, his mouth is now emanating the bad smell. He is emitting the bad smell. So now yachzor v'yochel shum acher. You should eat more garlic and be even smell even worse. Go brush your teeth. In other words, many times people they sin, and they think, I'm a goner. I sinned once, I'll do it again. And we know the Gemara says that's actually that's much worse. It says the Gemara in Kiddushin, I think Mem or something. It says that it's a famous Gemara in Kiddushin, I think around Mem, and also in Yuma Peivav around there. It says that the person who's choyte twice, he already doesn't feel the chait, right? The person who's the keven sheshon odem bechait, right, is already hutraloi. He thinks it's allowed. You already get used to it. So here, if you sinned once, definitely don't sin again. On the contrary, try to correct it, because the more you sin, the more entrenched you become into chait. Unless you're a shamayim, it's harder to change. Change adarabah, change quickly, get quickly back in the horse. Very, very, I remember till today when Rav Tzvi Meir Zilberberg spoke in the Grove a few times. He speaks it before Shoshana. He said that he said B'Shem the Russian Tsar or something like that. In Russia, they're very much into horses. So the Tsar's soldiers, they were trained that if they fall off the horse, they quickly have to get up. The horse is running. It's very hard. They quickly have to get up on the horse. You fell off the horse, as soon as you can, quick, run back on the horse. Don't start, I already sinned, nobody, yalla, stop the nonsense. Just quickly get back on the horse, do tshuva, and correct you, and daven better, learn better, get back on the horse as soon as you can, as quick as you can, without, wallowing in self-pity and all these negative thoughts of the Yetzer Hara. Dorosh Rove Baravula, first wide line. Dorosh Rove Baravula. What does it mean when it says, Ki en chotzuvois lemoisom, ubori ulam? Very hard pasuk to understand. Ki en chotzuvois lemoisom. I don't know what chotzuvois means, to be honest with you, but we're going to see the drosha. Lemoisom, it talks about reshoim. It talks about wicked people. Their death doesn't have chotzuvois. Ubori ulam. It's as healthy or it's as big and strong like an ulam. Ulam, like ulam. What's an ulam? A hall, a big room. Yeah, that's what it means. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu. What does it mean? Lo dayan lereshoim she'enan chartzuvois is charedin v'atzevin miyoim amisa. Chartzuvois is a combination of chored ve'otzuv. Not only wicked people, the reshoim, not only they're not chored and otzev, they're not fearful, they're not scared, they're not sad, they're not like aware of the day of death. They're going to die one day. What will they do then? They don't care about it. Not only they don't care, they're not scared, they're not fearful of the Yom HaMisa. Ela shalibam borilan keulam. The heart is as good, as strong as like an ulam. Says Rashi, shepischai rochov. Yeah, in other words, they have like a big door, like the ulam has a big door, a big opening. The heart is open to do a lot of averas. We are like pischa pasuach verochov. They have the heart is like open, and they're even going to do even more averas, like a big door open to l'chola nichnas. The hainu the Omar Rabba, and this follows the same idea that Rabba said. My dichtiv, what does it mean when it says ze darkam kesel lamoy? Ze darkam, speaking about Rishoim. This is the way of the Rishoim. Kesel lamoy. To them there is kesel. So the pasuk before that, you can see Rashi the Maschal ze darkam le'elimine ksiv kirbam b'teimoy le'oilom. Yeah, their graves are their houses. Danu kvura. He talks about the kvura when the pasuk discusses. This is in Tilim. The pasuk says those Rishoim, when they think about the grave, about the misa, they don't care. They're dalkam kesel lamoy. What does it mean kesel lamoy? Yodin Rishon shedalkam lamisa. Every Rosh knows he's going to die one day. The Rishoim don't think that they're Eliyahu Novi, right? So of course they know that. Yeah, zed dalkom. What's dalkom? Everybody knows that at the end of the day, it's not nice to say, but every person's life is really a march of death. Eventually, you're marching towards your death after 120. Yet they know that the way leads them at the end of the day for death. However, why don't they change? Why don't they do tshuva? What does it mean? Oh, what's kislam? Kislam are the kloyos, like in the Imurim, which we'll learn about in Vayikra. Kislam, right? Keksolim. These are the kidneys, and we all know that the kidney in the human body, the human anatomy, every part of the body represents something spiritual. The kloyos are yoyotzois, and they give musar. They give you advice and they give you musar. Musar kloyos. Af kloyos isruni kilioisai. Af leilos isruni kilioisai. David Melch says, my kloyos, they gave me musar. Avram Avinu, how did you know the Torah? Hashem didn't give him the Torah. He's not Moshe Rabbeinu. It says Avram Avinu had two kloyos, he had two kidneys, and they taught him Torah. Your kidneys is what teaches you Musar. Yeah? So now they have chaylev over the kislam. In other words, their conscious, their matzpun, the conscious, the part in their being, in their psyche that gives the Musar is covered with fat. There's so much into Gashmias, and Gaiva, like chaylev. Chaylev represents taivas, right? You give chaylev and blood on the mizbeach, right? From the animal. The chaylev, they have so much taivas, they cover up any kind of internal, natural, innate musar feelings. It's covered already. Unfortunately, they're far away from Hashem. Shema Toimer, maybe you could dan lekav schus and say shechucha himehen. Maybe you would say, listen, miskenim, there's so much into this mentality of being b'taivas. They forgot about Yom HaMisa. They kind of, repress it. They don't remember it because there's so much into Taivas, all the time, Taivas. They really forget about the Misa, but if you remind them of Yom HaMisa, they would change. Talmud Loimar, bad news. V'achareim b'fim yirtzu sela. Yeah, I think it's Yerotzu. I should really look at the Nikud. It says here, yeah, V'achareim b'fim yirotzu sela. Yeah, Yerotzu, they will talk. Yeah. In other words, no. Yirtzu, it says? Yirtzu? Okay, Yirtzu. Thank you for the correction. So, Yirtzu Sela, which means they would interesting. I don't know how Yirtzu is to talk, but okay, I guess like Lehartzot. Basically, V'fiem Yirtzu, they talk about Yom HaMisa and they still don't care. They're aware of the fact that they will die. They'll say, yes, I'm going to die, and they still don't care. Which means, yeah, again, I saw in the Meforshim, they say, because the Rishoim, what do they say? Achol v'shosoi kimachar namus. Eat because tomorrow I'm going to die. What am I going to do? So do tshuva, do vidu, change. No, I'm going to die tomorrow. I'm going to eat more today. Eat today, you'll die tomorrow. That's what the Romans said. So it's not like they're not aware of Yom HaMisa, they repress it. They're aware of Yom HaMisa and they distort the whole idea. That explains the Gemara at the beginning of Brochus around the Vav. It says there, what should the person do when he sees Yitzhar Hora overcoming him? So it says first you do this, Krishma, Tefillah, you do all these things, Torah, and if nothing helps, then remind him of Yom HaMisa, right? why don't you start with Yom Misa? Why don't go straight, cut through the chase and just talk about Yom Misa? It won't help. Because if a person only remembers his Misa and he has no Torah, no Krish, Moneros Shemayim, then Yom Misa, I'll sin even more. Let's chaparine before I die. Only after you have Torah and Musar and Krishma and all that, then Yom Misa would actually help. That's the answer over there. Oh, we're done with the Gadita for today. Although tomorrow there's more Gadita. And now we're going to learn very, very, very important Yesoides, fundamental ideas about Shabbos. So I highly recommend that we go back to the Mishnah and see the text of the Mishnah again. Yeah, for me, I have to scroll back. By reading the Mishnah again in Daf Chavtes Amud Beis in the bottom of the page. המכבה es הנר מפני שהוא מסיים מפני נוחים, מפני ליסטים, מפני רוח רום, מפני חולש אישן פוטו. So we said over there, the pshat is if you mechabe the candle, you extinguish the candle because of fear of all kinds of things. Could be that over there, really, the situation there is it's pikuach nefesh, and potter really means mutar. Let's leave that alone. That's not the topic of the Mishnah. Let's say it's a lot. Oh, comes a seifa. The person is now extinguishing the candle, the flame, because he wants to save, be economic and save the ner. The ner itself, the actual, the receptacle with the oil inside of it, may go bad, may burst, may go black. I want to keep it nice and clean. That's why I'm extinguishing the fire. Oil. Yeah, I have enough oil. I want to keep the oil for tomorrow. I need to save the oil. Or I feel bad because I really need the psila, I need the actual wick to stay for tomorrow. Then I'm chayev. Why am I chayev? That sounds l'choyer like Rabbi Yehuda. Why? Rabbi Yehuda said, "Melocha shenetzricha legufa chayev." So even though extinguishing, in 99% of cases, extinguishing is melocha shenetzricha legufa. Why? I'm not getting anything constructive. I'm only saving something from the side. I'm doing it in order to not gain anything here. I just want to have enough oil for tomorrow, or I want the wick not to burn completely. That's Melacha Shenetzricha Legufa. There are many definitions for Melacha Shenetzricha Legufa. Right now, there's no constructive goal over here. I'm just getting rid of a problem. That's why one way Rashi says, "B'rtzono lo bo lo daf tzad gimel." I don't need that to begin with. I just want it out. I want it off. I'm not happy that I have an extinguished wick. I'm not happy. That's it. I'm not gaining anything over here. But and even if you say that I gained the oil, it's not in the same place. That's another definition. Another, there are three definitions. One definition is I'm gaining something here and not over there. Meaning in the place of the melacha, in the place of the melacha, that's not where the gain is. The gain is somewhere else. For example, in Dafain Gimel Amud Beis, it says if I dig a hole just for the sand, I'm not interested in the hole. I gained a lot of sand, and that's constructive gain. But the hole I don't care about. As far as I'm concerned, it can be completely stuffed now. So that's Enetzricha Legufa. Because I'm not gaining in the scene of crime. I'm gaining somewhere else. There are a few definitions, and they all fit here. But the Rabbi Yehuda says, Yuchayev, it's called Meleches Machsheves. Rabbi Yosi, Poeter Bekulan, Chutz Min HaPsilim Pimeshu Oysa Pechom. Rabbi Yosi exempts in all cases, meaning if you want to save the oil, or you want to save the candle, you're potter. But if you want to save the wick, then you're chayiv. Because the wick is oisa pechem, the wick becomes like pechem, like coal, becomes burnt. Now you have a burnt wick, and that's why you're chayiv. And now you have to understand why. The Gemara will focus on Rabbi Yosi now. Okay, let me just see the 1 second. Okay, back to our daf. Baruch Hashem. Frag the Gemara. Rabbi Yossi kamat svirli. Who does Rabbi Yossi hold by? The famous machlokes is between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. So who's Rabbi Yossi's side on? If Rabbi Yossi thinks like Rabbi Yehuda that meleches machsheves, the words that are most important in Shabbos is meleches machsheves. Rabbi Yehuda says that meleches machsheves includes enetzricha legufa. Since you want the malacha to happen, we don't care if your goal is this, constructive, destructive. You have something which is a malacha. You mean to do the malacha, you chayiv. It's called meleches machsheves. Meleches machsheves. Your mind and your actions are in tandem, you chayv. That's Rabbi Yehuda. If Rabbi Yossi believes, if Rabbi Yossi is on Rabbi Yehuda's team, then also the nair and also the candle. I'm interested in turning off of extinguishing the fire, the flame, because I want that to stay intact. That's called chayev. If he thinks like Rab Shimon, then he should be potter in all three cases. Yeah, because Lamais, at the end of the day, you're not gaining anything. You stayed with the oil, you stayed with the candle, and you stayed with the wick. You saved all of them for tomorrow night. The same way. Who cares? It became pecham. Right now, we don't think that it became better than before. It stays unlit. Fine. So why are you chayv on this as opposed to the others? Omar Ula. Ula is the first answer. Really, Rabbi Yossi, when it comes to melacha she'en tzricha legufa, Rabbi Yossi believes in Rabbi Yehuda that says what? Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda are the same. Melacha she'en tzricha legufa chayev. However, welcome to a whole new world. Before we continue, welcome to a whole new world. The word melechet machsheves comes to exclude or to deal with at least 3 matters, if not more. One of them is melacha she'en tzricha legufa. That's now in the thing. Dover she'en miskaven, we're not talking about now. And the third one is mekalkel. As we all know, when you do something destructive on Shabbos, I don't mean destructive purpose. The thing is destructive. In other words, when you tear something, I tear a piece of paper, throw it in the garbage. Yeah, I erase something, throw in the garbage. Then that's called kilkul. It's not constructive, and I'm potu. It says, yeah, daf yeah, whoever does kilkul in Shabbos is potu, right? Okay. And that's the reason, by the way, my friends, you're allowed to tear the Bisley Bamba bag, not on face. Yeah, because no, it's kilkul, it's only also medarabonon, and for tzorich oichel, they allow you, as long as you throw it in the garbage straight away afterwards. You're not allowed to keep the Bamba bag, seriously. So now, we have, for the next few moments, we will leave alone melocha shetzricha legufa. It's sad melocha shetzricha legufa, Rabbi Yossi believes that you need what? Yes, you have melocha shetzricha legufa. However, when it comes to kilkul, comes a big question. If I'm potter on kilkul, how come you have malachas and Shabbos of Korea, soiser to destroy, Korea to tear, moichek to erase? They're all destructive. The famous answer is, you look up the Mishnah over there in Daf in Gimel, Amud Aleph, and what does it say there? Clearly, it says, soiser al menas livnois. If I demolish in order to rebuild, in the big picture, I'm really constructively demolishing in order to rebuild. Moichek, I'm only chayev al menas lichtov. I erase a letter or 2 letters or 1 in order to 2. Yeah, I erase in order to rewrite. Because I'm going to rewrite on the same text in the same place, I'm chayev because begadol, it's all constructive. I'm chayev if I tear in order to tear, because I have to tear a piece of fabric in order to, re-stitch it in a better way. And therefore, then I'm chayev. Destructive almenas, constructive is chayev, and that everyone believes in. That's not Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon. That's the Kula Alma. That's a Meforshah Mishnah. Nobody argues on soiser almenas livnos. Here comes Rabbi Yossi with his own chiddush. It has nothing to do with Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. Yeah, the Kasava Rabbi Yossi, soiser almenas livnos bimkoimoi havi soiser, almenas livnos shelo bimkoimoi lo havi soiser. Says Rabbi Yossi as follows. When the Torah is mechayiv me on soser manas livnois, there is one big caveat, the condition. I'm only chayiv if I demolish in order to build in the same place. If I demolish here in order to build over there, then I'm potter. Yeah, somebody demolishes his house over here. What is he going to do? Nothing. Where will he build it? In a new place. No, that's not connected enough. Yeah, because constructive is nothing. It's not melechas machsheves. You only chayiv if you want to build in the same place, then it's under the same umbrella. I'm destroying my house in Rehov Rav Shach, I don't know, in order to build the same house in Rehov Rav Shach with the same stones in the same place, then it's called one big happy malacha. And you can say, okay, it's really part of the whole thing. But if I destroy my house in Rehov Rav Shach in order to take the same stones and rebuild them in Rehov Kahneman, then what? Then I'm not chayiv according to Rabbi Yossi. That's not halacha. That's what Rabbi Yossi says. Why? So the Rishonim say, because normally when it comes by koisev, when you erase in order to rewrite in the same place. When you tear here in order to stitch in the same place. Same idea with soiser. Yes, Sois is only Chayiv in the same place. What does that have to do with us? Kibui has many disadvantages. Or maybe it's an advantage because it's less strict. That's why, by the way, I'm sure you know from Chutzatz, from dealing with the goyim, to tell a goy beramiza to turn off is much more common than to turn on the light. You know that. That's the reasons. It's destructive and it's answer chalagufa and v'chule. I'm not saying again halacha, but I'm saying it's definitely more calm. So now, what's the story over here? When you're talking about livnois, leave livness alone now. Livnois is only chayiv al menas to rebuild in the same place. When I extinguish the flame, if I want to use the same flame tomorrow, because now I want it off, because I don't want this to disappear, I'm not improving the wick. That you have to understand, because that will be the other teretz. I want this wick to be off, the flame to be off, because tomorrow I want to reuse the same wick again. I can't have the wick going out. I don't have that much money. Yeah, tonight I'm extinguishing here in the scene of the flame, in the spot of the flame, because tomorrow in the very, very, very same place, I want to have the wick right here to reignite tomorrow. But if I'm extinguishing the fire here in order to have the oil, says Rashi, the oil is not where the Havara is, it's a different place. The wick is in Rehov Rav Shach and the oil is in Rehov Kahneman. It's two places and really purposely not the same. And the candle, B'chlal, right? In other words, it has to be in the very, very same spot with the same Torah. Rashi's Lashon, Ein Hakibui, the first wide line, it's easy to look at. Ein Hakibui v'avara, lo b'shem v'lo b'ner, lo b'psila. Where's the real kibui and avara? In the psila. Of course, you need the ner, you need the shemen. They're very essential, but it's not, the oil is not burning in the site of the oil. The flame is not on the oil, the flame is in the wick. So that's why only when you are extinguishing in order to reignite the wick, that's called soisa amanas livnas bim koimoy. But if you're mechabe is like soisa. Mechabe is classically one of the what? Destructive malachas. If I destroy the wick, so to speak, in order to rebuild, so to speak, the oil, says Rabbi, that's his das yochid. That's why Rabbi Yossi came into the scene. He's not arguing with any. I mean, he's not getting into machlokas Rabbi Rab Shimon. He also Rabbi Yehuda Astamazoi melacha shteichel gufa. But that's not the issue of melacha shteichel gufa. It's an issue of sois ramanas livnos. Rabbi Yossi has his own idea. It has to be bimkoimoy. Since it's not bimkoimoy, you're not chayiv. Omer leRabba. Now Rabba comes and asks the question. Michdi, as we all know, kol melachas ilfinu mimishkan. Every child knows all melachas will learn from the Mishkan. Right? So the same mechanism of the Mishkan has to be in everyday life of Melachos, every Shabbos of the Yid's life should function like the Mishkan. How do you know that? Right? Pashat Vayakel, Kudei, it's mentioned together. Mishkan together with Shabbos, right? Daf Mem Tes Amud Beis, later on we'll see. The Hossam over there, excuse me, that was not the case. In the Mishkan, did they stay in the same place ever? No. Where was Stira in the Mishkan? In the Mishkan. They demolished the Mishkan. They took away the Yerios. They took away the Kroshim, one from the other. They demolished the Mishkan. Where did they rebuild it? In a different place. They went from one place to the other, one journey after the other, one sojourn after the other, from one place to the other. So that's against what you're saying, right? How can you demand that the Stira and Binyan be in the same place? It's a nice idea. But how can you learn it from the Mishkan? The Mishkan every time was a different place. Amalei, this is a famous Musar idea. Back to Musar. Even we don't learn Musar, it's Musar. Shiny Hossam, over there it's different. Came and ksiv al pi Hashem yachnu, al pi Hashem yisu, dami. Oh, because over there they did not do what they wanted. They followed orders by Kodesh Baruch Hu. They had no idea where Hashem will tell them to stop and to start and to build it, to demolish. They didn't know where the next stop is. Therefore, it's considered as if they're boine in the same place. Why? A few explanations. I saw Rabbeinu Chananel. Rabbeinu Chananel here says, because maybe a Kodesh Baruch Hu, when they demolish, maybe Hashem will tell them to stay in the same place. Maybe. You don't know. Right? Sometimes they stayed in one place one day, sometimes 20 years. So maybe Hashem will tell them to demolish and start again. Meaning they had no kavanah of dafka going to another place. They were toiling in Hashem. Maybe Hashem will tell them to stay in the same place. So be'etzem the steer was at least potentially al nas livnas bim koimoy. The more Musar Diki actually, but the Ritva, if I didn't see the Ritva this time again, but I saw it quoted, the Ritva says, or they say the Baalei Musar say, the whole domain, the whole midbar, because Hashem is the one who decided where they're going to be, and it was on Kovod, Amud Aish, it was all inside Hashem's domain. The Grogochover talks about it also. Actually, in the Musar idea, in the Machshava idea, you know the Chabad song, Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. Up, down. Oh, I'm not going to do the whole song now, yeah? Basically, Hashem, especially in the Midbar, it was all his entity. They're kilu moving from place to place inside HaKadosh Baruch Hu's domain. Philosophically, you can say it all the time, but okay, that's Yesh Gvul. But at least in Olam Hazeh, we have the illusion that we are deciding. To demolish Mehas and Rechov Rav Shach to build it in Rechov Kahneman. But Lamaisa, there in the Midbar, it was more visible and clear that it was all one domain called Hashem's entity, which is telling them move from here to there, all within the Anonim, the Anon HaKavod. They're all one entity, and therefore it's really called being in the same place. Musar goes into halacha. That's answer number one. The Rabbi Yochanan Omar. Now Rabbi Yochanan gives a different answer to Ula. Rabbi Yochanan is arguing with Ula's answer, and he says a different teretz. Lo elam ki Rab Shimon svirle. Back to malacha she'atzich alagufa. Really, Rabbi Yossi, generally speaking, follows Rab Shimon. That says what? Malacha she'atzich alagufa potu. Right, and therefore, when it comes to extinguishing in order to maintain and save the oil, that's classical Netzach Halagufa. I didn't gain anything new. I'm not like cooking something here or gaining anything, right? And if I gain something not in the same place, nothing constructive, right? It's Netzach Halagufa. Umayishna psila. So why is psila different? Why are you chayiv if you extinguish the psila? Amar Vimnuna, Vitem Ravada Barava, Hocho bepsila shetzorich lehavhevo askinan. Oh. We're talking about here psila. So back then, today also, but back then even more, every psila, so it sounds like, in order to be well lit, to be a good functional psila, the first time you have to scorch it a bit, you have to scorch it a bit, and then you blow it, and then it's a good psila. So this psila is a first time psila. So actually, when I extinguish it, I'm creating something good, constructive, that I'm happy with. Now I have a psila, mehuv heves. I have a psila, I gained a psila, which even by Reb Shimon standards is called malacha atzricha lagufa. Yeah, as opposed to the previous teretz, I just extinguished in order to save for tomorrow. But here we say no, I'm improving the psila. I'm improving the psila. Beforehand, the psila was hard to light because it was first time. Yeah, it wasn't easy to light it as much. Now I'm extinguishing it. I have a better one. I have a psila now is scorched. And it requires the hivhuv. It requires the scorching. The be'ahi, in such a case, afil Rab Shimon moidi, even Rab Shimon, the one who's making the nenetzich lagufa, even he agrees the kametaken mono. What's metaken mono? You're creating a kli, a mono. Very good. And therefore, that's called tzricha lagufa. By the oil stays the same. I just saved it. I'm not improving the oil. The same oil was there before and after. I'm a miser or I'm poor. I leave it, yeah, ordinaire. I'm not gaining a new thing, but here I gained a better psila. That's classical kiboy of tzricha legufa. That's the case of kiboy of tzricha legufa. Only two cases. Tzricha legufa is either when I need to scorch or when I create a barbecue coals. I'm creating a coal. That's kiboy hatzorich legufa. That's classical. Now, Amar Rove says Rove Daikanami. That answer, the last answer we just saw now, the Rabbi Yochanan's answer is also inferred from the words of the Mishnah, Diktani, Shehu Oise Pecham, V'lo Ktanim Pnei Shenases Pecham Shmamina. Let me explain. It says in the Mishnah, Oise Pecham, which means, who's Oise? The person. The person who is blowing away the flame, it's not that it's becoming Pecham. Like according to the first answer of Ula, well, I'm not trying to improve anything, right? I'm just extinguishing here, right? And it's not called destructive because tomorrow I'm going to light again in the Pecham. It's becoming Pecham, yeah? It was unlit, it's scorched, but it was scorched before. It's Pecham. According to the second answer, the Lashon of the Mishnah is better. It doesn't say Nasa, it says Oise Pecham. I, the person, this is active. I, the person who is turning off the fire, who's extinguishing the fire, the flame, I'm oise pechem for the first time. I'm not creating a scorched besila, and that's good. And that's tzricha legufa. And mamish creating something constructive and good locally here, tzricha legufa, which even according to Reb Shimon, I'm chayav shma mino. And that's the second answer. So there are two answers. Don't confuse them. Answer number one is Rabbi Yossi mitzad en tzricha legufa would say in echanami you're chayav. But lamaisa, by the way, don't get confused. Rabbi Yehuda also believes that kilkul is potter. Rabbi Yehuda says when I dig a hole and it's something nice and constructive, even if my kavana is not the right kavana, I'm still chayiv and it's a chalagufa, right? But if I destroy, according to Rabbi Yehuda, I'm asking a question. According to Rabbi Yehuda, I tear a paper, throw in the garbage. Of course, I'm potter. It's nothing to do with chalagufa. I destroyed and finished. I'm potter, right? On that says the first answer of Rabbi Yossi. When you destroy something in order to rebuild, react, redo it in the same place, not improving it. But I'm not building a better house. I'm destroying my house in Rav Shach Street, number 5. Yeah, I destroy with the same stones. I'm building a different house of the same quality, same price. I'm chayiv. I'm not improving. I just destroyed in order to build. I'm chayiv. Says Rabbi Yossi, I have a particular request, a particular prerequisite, only if it's in the same place exactly. That's why on the Shemen on the Ner I'm potter, it's a different location. On the Psila I'm chayiv. That's the first answer. That's Ula. Rabbi Yochanan says no. We are talking here not mitzad kilku, mitzad eina tzricha legufa, and we say that we follow Reb Shimon. Rabbi Yossi follows Reb Shimon. It says melocha tzricha legufa potter. So if I'm merviach over here and I'm not gaining anything constructive, anything good, I'd be potter completely. Over here, I'm gaining something very constructive and very clear and very good. What is it? Something new that wasn't there before, and that's my kavana. That's the wick that is now have been scorched and singed for the very first time. That is a revach. When I go, and now I have a scorched, simcha. It's a new, that's gufa. I'm gaining something here in the malacha itself, something new and good and amazing and nice and fine. That is even according to Reb Shimon, malachas machsheves, nem chayev. According to Rabbi Yehuda, I'm chayev anyways, regardless, even on the oil. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, as long as I'm happy with what I'm doing, even if I'm not gaining anything, I'm just saving trouble, I'm saving a problem, I'm chayiv. You know, whereas Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Shimon Mefurish in the Mishnah is about, it's kind of good to know, because that's a basic in Daf Tzaddigim Alamud Beis. It's about doing hoitzah, removing the reshus, remember, the beginning of the Sechta, lo leinu bar minan, a dead body. When you take a dead body from your house to the street, to a shady area, hopefully, in the street, you're not happy. Oh, I have, excuse my sense of humor. Yeah, another. Yeah, I have a dead body on display. I'm happy it's in the street. I'm happy that it's not in my house because of tumah, because of hygiene, because of whatever. I don't want it in the house. Oh, so according to Rabbi Yehuda, I'm chayiv. L'maisa, I did the malacha. It's not called. I didn't destroy anything. I'm chayiv. Your kavana, I don't care about your kavana. You want the mace out, you're chayiv. Finished. There's Rabbi Yehuda. Shimon says no. You're not gaining anything. You're not like, oh wow, now I have a mace in the street. As I always wanted to have a mace in the street. No, you're happy that you don't have a mace in your house. Says Rashi, Birutzoyne Lobolo. Rashi says a few places. Rashi's Shita is Rashi places. Rashi says the idea is that if you get rid of a problem, you're not gaining anything. At the end of the day, you balance in a zero. Then it's Melocha Shetzrecha Lagufa. That's Rashi's Shita. Tosfos and after the Dalit says this is always into the Mishkan. This says it's different to the Melocha to the goal they had in the Mishkan. The Mishkan didn't want those kind of things. They wanted. Ramban says something else. V'chule v'chule. Beseder. Weiter. So tomorrow, what do you say? Tomorrow we have Shir, Bezel Shem, regular time. I hope tomorrow regular time. Let's assume tomorrow we meet same time, meaning not same time as now. I mean 9:20. Any changes, let you know. But let's assume tomorrow 9:20. Nice to have you here again, Rabbi Yosef. Atzlacha bracha. Back to cleaning. Thank you. Go to. Bye bye. Yes. Good.